Good evening, and thank you for joining me. My name's Vanessa Taylor, and I am currently a student with Liberty University. And I just wanted to take a few minutes to do my group leading report. I initially had wanted on a weekend. I chose Sunday, November 25th, 2018. We met from about 2 till 3:15, so a little bit over an hour. And we met at the Bishop Point Army facility on Hickam Air Force Base. I chose a classroom and I set up the chairs around in a circle so that everyone was able to look at everyone. There was no head of the table, there was no one who felt superior to the rest. I wanted it to be very level. Being in Hawaii, I had initially wanted to conduct the session by the beach because for me, the beach is very relaxing. However, upon further discussion, I went with a more professional setting. Initially, when I had advertised the group, I had about 10 participants, and I ended up with about 5. There were some that wanted to do more one-on-one. However, I discussed how it was designed to be a group effort. And I didn't know any of the women. They were just all military spouses that were stationed here on Hickam. So the purpose of my group was to sit down with some of the military wives to see how they felt that the military in all aspects has prepared them for what they have come to understand as their new normal. Their husbands leaving for months at a time, their kids being late at daycare because they had to work and whatever it was. So I began by meeting each participant at the front door for the building. I introduced myself and I walked them back to the classroom. They were all friendly, however, they were standoffish, unsure of who I was, what I was trying to do. However, once they all had arrived, I had them take a few minutes to get a snack, get a drink. I left the room and grabbed some resources and a few other things, and then I joined them back in the classroom. I feel that this allowed the women to talk among themselves for about 5 minutes before I had even began the session. And then we got started. I started by asking them to share one thing that they felt was important for the rest of the group to know. They all kind of paused for a moment, almost like they were waiting for somebody to start or take the initiative. But I was reluctant. I got one to start, and then they all kind of started sharing after that. I had all age groups. I had a few that were in their 20s and 30s and a couple that were in their 40s. So it was an overall aspect from all age groups, which was nice. At the beginning, the women gave the impression that they were unwilling to share personal aspects about their lives, which is fine. However, I was reluctant to get one participant that felt as though she had lost herself. She had lost her identity in who she knew she was once she retired from the military and became a military dependent. She stated that to achieve that personal growth, she is finishing up her social work degree, and she's been looking into doing group counseling, such as the one that I did for them. Others had stated that they had finally gotten the job they wanted, and then they were moving, and so they had to leave that job and leave the stability, and then they just felt lost. I gave different aspects, and I gave personal experiences as to how I dealt with those. And they were very responsive to them. And each one of them gave others different ways that they have dealt with situations similar to them. In the book, Group Counseling, Jacobs and the rest of the authors discussed how our values are a fundamental part of who we are, meaning that our values will influence how we lead a group. So, knowing who we are, or who I am, and my intentions, I was able to provide counseling based upon that. I have always struggled to make eye contact as I'm talking because it makes me nervous. But I did work on that and try to focus on that as I was doing the group. So overall, I feel like I did a really good job preparing. I researched my topics, I printed out resources, and gave ample instructions. Difficulties, the time of day, I think that I should have chosen a time either earlier in the morning or later in the evening, because during the day people are doing family stuff. And another thing is, because it was the first session, I didn't want to ask too personal of questions, but I think as mental health professionals, we need to take that deep breath and trust that God will help us work through those questions. And it also to remember that it's okay to not know all the answers. Teamwork, working with everyone together, is obviously necessary. And Hebrews 13:7 states, "Remember your leaders who spoke the word of God to you. Consider the outcome of their way of life and imitate their faith." Overall, I had a positive experience, and I am looking forward to doing more. And I think that we take the healing and change that God has so graciously brought into our lives and look for opportunities to help others in the same way. I'm constantly amazed at how God uses me to help others, and just by simply being available. I think it's important that we trust our own stories of change and willingness, and that it takes and what it takes to make you a qualified leader and someone that can share your experiences with others. Thank you for all that you have done for us this year, this session, this group, and I look forward to continuing to learn the next couple of weeks. Have a great evening. Thank you.